All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully, you're having a great day. Welcome back to the channel. Little recap of yesterday. We went 4-2. Hartenstein hooked us with 3 assists. We needed 4. And Ben Simmons just went absolutely ham, got 9 assists. But we had 4 wins, so good day. Came out in the positive. Let's talk about this slate today. We've got 11 games. We've got a big slate, a lot of back-to-back, so we're going to go through that, give you guys my leans, and then we'll talk about best bets. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. It is absolutely free. Day 4 of the ladder? Day 4 of the ladder will happen today, so you can get involved in that. Like I said, absolutely free to join. So let's get into this card. Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Philly sat a bunch of people yesterday. I don't know if it was injury or they just knew they had a back-to-back. They wanted to show up against the Knicks at home. But we had Maxey out. We had Paul George out, Embiid out. So they had basically a G League team yesterday. And they actually played a lot better than I thought. So they kept it within reason. I think they actually covered the spread. The spread went from like 11.5 to almost 20 with all the injury news. But today, let's see, we got Brunson's a game time decision, should play. Karl Anthony Towns is a game time decision, most likely will play. Jericho Sims is a game time decision. So got a few GTDs. I would say Philly plus 6.5. I like the spot for them. Should have Maxey back, Paul George, Embiid. So they got their normal lineup in. I think 6.5 is too much. So Philly plus 6.5. Lean towards the over 219.5. Celtics and the Raptors. Not a game I really want to touch. This one, minus 14.5. I don't trust Boston, and Toronto's been covering spreads at home. So I guess lean Toronto plus 14.5 here. It's just too many points. And then I don't want to touch the over-under. Atlanta Hawks and Chicago Bulls. It's definitely going to be our highest over-under of the day. I haven't looked at all of them, but you can pretty much guarantee with these teams that play at a quick pace. Over under 244.5. Wouldn't be shocked if we saw an over here. Atlanta plus 2. I like it. They looked really good against the Suns, but I think the Bulls at home still no Jalen Johnson. Some guys stepped up yesterday. I just don't love this spot for them. So I would go Bulls minus 2, actually. Orlando Magic and the Bucks. We got Orlando plus 5.5. I was on Orlando when they played the Bucks the other day with the points. Still on them. So give me Orlando plus 5.5. Lean towards the under 210.5 in this game. Memphis Grizzlies and the San Antonio Spurs. We see Memphis minus 2.5. Really only seeing this due to the injuries. They've still got some guys out, but most of their lineup looking pretty good. So Memphis minus 2.5 feels pretty nice here. Lean towards the over 239. I expect a pretty quick pace in this game. Dallas Mavericks and the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion looked great last night from a rebound and assist perspective. I think a lot of people were thinking he was going to score like 30, 40 points. Didn't happen. Mavericks minus 2.5. Kyrie being back doesn't instill me with that confidence. You've got Lively, who a decent chance he's going to be out today. Let's see what else we have on the injury front. So no Lively, no Doncic on Pelican side of the ball. No Ingram, no Herb Jones. But really like this team, the way they're rolling yesterday. They looked pretty good. So I think they have a nice day today. Give me Pelicans money line plus 124 in this one and lean towards the over 225.5. Rockets and the Nuggets. We see Nuggets minus 1.5 against the Houston team's been pretty good. We got Denver on a back-to-back. We had the Joker get a triple-double basically in the first half. That was ridiculous. So probably going to get another triple-double today. He's got an okay chance of that happening. On a back-to-back, I wouldn't be shocked here if we see Houston pull this off. So I would have a slight lean towards Houston money line at plus money. I still think they're actually the better team technically. So I think there's value there. Hornets and the Jazz. Jazz at home, a great team. I mean, they're actually much better at home. And the Hornets are actually pretty decent on the road. But give me the Hornets in this one, minus 4.5. There's just too many injuries on the Utah side of the ball. No Collins, no Lauri Markkanen, which is a massive Massive loss there. Probably no Sexton tonight. So I like Charlotte minus 4.5 in this, which is scary. Really just not a game you should play. Two pretty bad teams. There are some props I like in this one, but in terms of picking a winner, I feel like you're just gambling at that point. All right, Golden State and Minnesota. We see Minnesota -6. That's a pretty hefty line for Minnesota. Golden State side, they have Trace Jackson Davis, game time decision, expected to play. Gary Payton expected to play. Kyle Anderson's a game time decision, kind of 50-50. Same with Draymond Green. And we have Kuminga out. So with this current rotation, I could definitely see Minnesota here. I just don't want to take Minnesota -6. So a little too much for me. Lean would be towards the over 214.5. This is a pretty low line in my opinion. This should be closer to 217, 218. Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. See Lakers -4.5 going up against this Heat team. Really disappointed in the Lakers, man. They should have won that last game. They didn't. I think they have a good bounce back here. So Lakers -4.5. Over under of 217.5. I just don't trust the Heat, so I don't want to touch a Heat over under. They could be absolutely lights on fire with the threes, or they absolutely suck. So just give me Lakers -4.5. Last game of the card. Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers. See Clippers -14.5. That is a massive spread. But Nets have been really struggling to cover spreads against top 10 Ds. So I could definitely see it. I'm not playing it. I would just say take the under 213.5. I think we'll actually see really good defense in this game. Wouldn't be shocked. Maybe take a Brooklyn Nets team total under type of deal. On a back-to-back, Ben Simmons should not play. He has not played a back-to-back all year. They've got Claxton out. Problem is you have D'Angelo Russell on a minutes limit. So I don't know how much he's going to play. So overall, I just don't love this game for Brooklyn whatsoever. All right, best bets, and we will get on with the day here. So let's start with Karl Anthony Towns over 2.5 assists at -130 on FanDuel. He's over this in 6 of his last 10. He's over this in 4 of 6 versus Philly. He had 6 the last time that they played each other on November 12th. We just saw Hartenstein miss this. He ended up at 3. I think Cat probably ends up right at 3. But there could be an avenue to ladder this up to 5 or 6. Next play is going to be John Morant under 5.5 rebounds. It's under this line in 7 straight. Doesn't have a great matchup to get rebounds tonight. So I think this line's very inflated. One of those will definitely end up at 4.5 by the time tip-off comes around. Give me Okongwu under 8.5 rebounds. This guy's been on fire with the boards. But he still only hit this in 5 of his last 10. Chicago, even though it's a very, very fast-paced game, they're still 11th in fewest rebounds allowed to the center position. Okongwu played a lot of minutes last night. He played much more minutes than Capella, so I think that was on purpose. Hopefully we see kind of an inverse tonight where we see Clint Capella play more minutes than Okongwu. Goga Bitadze, under 9.5 points. First time we've ever faded Goga in terms of his points. But he scores 85% of his points under the basket, mainly on putbacks. And Milwaukee does a very good job in this area. They're 6th in terms of fewest points allowed to putbacks and under the rim. He has a 10% hit rate last 20 games when he plays 26 minutes or less. We've seen with Paulo, he has definitely came in and overtaken a lot of Goga. I think Wendell Carter Jr. will play a decent amount, so it's highly unlikely that we'll see Goga get to 27 minutes tonight. Walker Kessler, over 11.5 rebounds. He's over this in 7 of his last 10 without John Collins, and he's over this in 5 straight without Lauri Markkanen. Now, there's only been a few games where we haven't had Collins and Markkanen on the court together, but in those games, he's got a great hit rate. So I do think he goes over this line tonight. Charlotte, just kind of one of those teams. We know they're going to chuck threes. Hopefully he can get some boards. That's the only issue, right? Could bounce away and not get a ton of boards. Next play is going to be Trace Jackson Davis for Golden State under 8.5 rebounds. He's over this line in 6 of his last 10. However, Minnesota has the 6th fewest rebounds to the center position. This is more of a system play to me. This is sitting at -162 on Pinnacle, -150 on almost every other book. So we're just getting amazing value here at -125 to take this bet. Next one's going to be Zubac over 12.5 rebounds. High line, but He is over this in 6 of his last 10. I think he's going to have ample opportunities tonight against this Brooklyn team that should be down a few players. I like him to get a lot of boards early here. The only issue is could turn into a blowout. So that's the only thing I think that keeps this line from going over. That said, he just had 20 boards in his last game. He had a 20-20 game in a pretty decisive win. So I like the spot. Next play is going to be Paolo Banchero over 10.5 rebounds plus assists. Still on a minutes restriction, but just a beautiful spot for him. Rebounds line is at 6.5. I do think he gets the 7 rebounds. Assist line's at 4.5. Probably doesn't get 5, but he gets 4. So we need 7 rebounds for this to hit in all likelihood. But we're opening up the avenue to either. If you don't want to take the RAs, you can just do the 6.5 rebounds. He just hit 7 against Milwaukee last time they played, pretty recently. Last play on the card here is going to be Keontae George under 22.5 points. This is a very high line for him. He is under this line in 8 of his last 10 games. He's under this in 16 of his last 20 games. We're seeing this inflated because there's no Lauri Markkanen, there's no John Collins, there's no Sexton, right? So a lot of their scorers are gone. He just doesn't take shot volume like this, right? He's a 13 shots a game person. I just don't know how he'll do when he's going to have to take 20, 25 shots tonight. So we'll see. Could definitely go over this line, but there's just too much recent history that says to fade this. Now, a couple of leans I have didn't make the card. I've got 2 here, and then I'll be going throughout the day, and then this afternoon be posting some in the Discord. Free to join, link down below. But Trey Jones under 4.5 assists. It's minus 154 on DraftKings, so it will need a dance partner attached to it, but this line is just way too high. This should be like 2.5, 3.5 max. He has not hit this line in many games. Next one's going to be Russell Westbrook over 5.5 rebounds. I gave this out in the Discord last night. He's hit this in 9 of his last 10. I expect him to fully hit it again tonight. So he doesn't have the greatest matchup in terms of getting rebounds, but he's been absolutely unstoppable getting those boards. We've still got Aaron Gordon on a minutes restriction. From what I understand, that's going to be in place for a little bit here. So that means Westbrook's going to continue to get plenty of minutes. He's going to continue to, rack up boards and assist. We saw Jamal Murray just go absolutely insane last night, scored 40-some points last I had looked. So I think it's a good spot for Russ to go over 5.5 rebounds. So those are the plays, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, if you haven't, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and I'll catch you in the next video.